In this video, I'm going to share my favorite 3 business books with you. Now, of course, there's many options here. I've read so many books over the years that have affected me, that I've learned cool things from. But these are the 3 that I think made the biggest impact on me. So when I class them as my 3 favorites, you can think about it that way. Maybe a better title would be the 3 most impactful business books that I've read. Number 1 was The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Now, this book literally changed my life. I think it has done for a lot of people, really. That's why it's such a, it is genuinely an iconic book now, isn't it? If you haven't read The 4-Hour Workweek, I urge you to. I think what I took from that book was that I don't have to stay an employee stuck in a crappy job with an idiot boss, forfeiting all of my time and life energy, sacrificing that on the altar of some massive corporation. So The 4-Hour Workweek was an absolute transformative book for me. I think that was probably, if I had to pick one book out of every book I've ever read that's changed my life the most, I think it would be The 4-Hour Workweek. I read it so much as I was going in and out of central London with all of the other drones in the morning. I read that book so many times that you couldn't even tell. The spine of the book was completely obliterated. You couldn't tell what book it was. I used to leave work on my lunch hour, go to a nearby pub, sit in a quiet room, the Bricklayers Arms in Soho, and I would just go through the book, highlighting it, making notes. I just read and reread that book until all the lessons went in. And to me, it's not about setting up your life so you can only work 4 hours a week. It's about thinking like a business owner, finding leverage, deleting the things from your life that you don't need, and understanding that there are alternatives to being an employee, aka a slave, which is, let's face it, that's what most employees are. Not all, of course, but many employees. It is a form of modern day slavery, isn't it? And breaking the relationship between time exchanged and money earned, that is the key, I would say, to financial freedom. And unfortunately, most employees don't have that, and it's heartbreaking, really. The problem is that you can give that book to somebody. I recommended it to everybody. I bought it for so many people. Bought it for my mates, friends of friends, my wife's friends. I just bombarded people with that book, and it just didn't really have any impact on most of those people. I just couldn't believe that, So I think it's one of those things where you can't convert people to this. But if you are inside you, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit kindling there, then that book will light the fire, So number 2 for me, this didn't transform my life in the way that the 4-Hour Workweek did, but it did transform my business. And that is Work the System by Sam Carpenter. This book was an incredible book to me because it gave me, it's quite a simple book in lots of ways, but it's only simple when you know it. You don't know what you don't know. And this book taught me how to systemize my business. Understand that every single aspect of your business is a system composed of subsystems, and you can define and optimize each one, and you can also document each one and train people to do that and hand it off so you don't have to do it. I don't think it's possible to build a successful business that works without you unless you have clear systems in place. It's just not possible. And this book showed me how to do that. I'm like, wow, once you get out of the way, once you stop being an once you stop being an operator and you become an owner, your business takes off in ways that you can't imagine. You have to get out of the way. And in order for that to happen, there have to be systems in place. If you don't have systems in place, you are the system, and you'll never be free from that. And that's the key mental shift. Think like an owner, not an operator. Imagine that your business is a factory and you own it. You're not there on the factory floor operating the machinery. You're the guy who shows up once a week with a cigar and a jag and just walks around the factory floor, checks everything's okay, and then buggers off, to a holiday home in Spain or whatever. That's the mentality that you have to have. And of course, I'm not saying that you're neglectful of your business, but just have that mental picture in your mind. This thing needs to work without you. That's the trick. You have to see it that way. This business, it has to operate without you, otherwise it'll never scale. How can it if it's reliant on you? It can't scale. It's a fun book, it's easy to read, and man, I learned so much from it. And you can't help but really like Sam Carpenter after reading that book and understanding, his life and the way it's written and everything. What a dude, man. What a great guy. I'm so grateful that he made that book. It helped me so much. My last business, I don't think, because that was in a low margin industry, the guitar tuition industry, which I love music. I love guitar music, man. That's everything to me. That's been my passion since I was a teenager. But it's really hard to make a living in the guitar tuition industry because the margins are so small. And I don't think that business could have reached 7-figure revenues without reading that book, Work the System. I think that's how important it was. So there you go, that's book number 2, Work the System by Sam Carpenter. And then book number 3 is Built to Sell by oh gosh, what's his name? John Warrilow. That's a really, really great book about understanding. I mean, in some ways it follows on from Work the System, but it teaches you the importance of building your business so it could be sold. Doesn't mean you have to sell it, but build it in a way where it could be sold. Because if you do that, it's a business that will be really healthy and it will be a pleasure to own. And as I always say, I say this all the time, a business that's ready for sale is a pleasure to own. And then you might find that you don't even want to sell the business because it's a pleasure to own. And if it's a pleasure to own and you're generating cash from it each month, there's not much motivation to sell it, is there? If it's a pleasure to own, it's providing you loads of income. You know, a lot of people would find that they just want to keep the business in that situation. But the reality is most people are not in that position. Most people, I would say, honestly, 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs, I think their business is not pleasurable to own. Maybe it's even higher, man. I don't know, but it's at least 9 out of 10. Most entrepreneurs, they're working hard, man. They really are. You know, it's a tough gig. It's a mental challenge. It's physically challenging. And I think if you read Built to Sell, that will teach you the importance of structuring the business as you build it with like Lego blocks. You're building it up all the time with an exit in mind. You don't have to sell. It's a completely optional thing, but you should build your business to sell. And I think what he does in that book is explain through, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a story. I think maybe he just uses the story to teach you the lessons, a bit like the richest man in Babylon, you know. But anyway, it's effective and the message went in for me. So they're my top three most impactful, my three favorite business books. I recommend them to everybody. Number 1, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Number 2, Work the System by Sam Carpenter. And number 3, Built to Sell by John Warrilow. I'm going out on a flyer there. I think his name's John. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Now remember, if you want to work with me, I coach people one-to-one. Go to my website, boldfreedom.com, if you want my help with your business. I teach people how to package their expertise, monetize it to 6 figures, scale that to 7 figures, and then exit the company. And I can help you at any one of those 4 phases or through the whole journey. It's completely up to you. You'll find more information at boldfreedom.com. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. I'm going to try and start doing more of these YouTube videos. We'll see how it goes. I find it difficult to stick to them, to be honest, but I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one.